another minute or so, and it would be good afternoon. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Something about Wednesdays. It's Wednesday morning, and I remember way back when I also had a corporate career, my boss, seniors, used to say, well, if you have to launch something, it should be on a Wednesday. And I somehow remember that still, and it just happens to be a Wednesday, so obviously a very lucky day for whatever's going to happen today. But truly, thank you for sparing the time. I say this always because, you know, in major cities, large cities around the world, it's just so inconvenient. You have 50 things to do, so much traffic, and this, that, and the other. So for all of you to spare your time today, thank you. If I might begin on a lighter note, in the world of cricket, we constantly use and sometimes overuse and abuse the word partnership. And you will remember commentators saying, now's the time for a good partnership. You know, India now need a good partnership. A partnership is what needed now. I mean, for heaven's sake, you know, when do you not need a good partnership? I mean, you don't want to say now's the time to lose a wicket. So partnership is what it's all about in the game, and as we all know, in life as well, and sport reflects life. So partnership is the key word today. In fact, I might even say it's a VIP event, which is not the standard VIP thing, but very important partnership, because, of course, it brings together two very important aspects of why we're here today. You know, sometimes you stand here and wonder what more is there left to say, because if we start talking about cricket here in India, everything that needed to be said and didn't has been said. So if I now, and I think to myself, if I talk about what cricket means to all of us, I might lose most of you saying, yeah, well, we know, but humor me, because that's what cricket is to India. I mean, we can use the simple cliches, but they're all useful, and that's why they are cliches. They're used so often because they mean so much. The kind of passion, the excitement, the history, the tradition of the game, which most people understand, some now don't, but please let me draw your attention to it, because it means so much to so many of us who follow the game so closely. And that reminds me of another wonderful sentence in the world of cricket, and it's become a bit of a landmark sentence, and it means a lot, though, and I remember it only because of that. What do they know of cricket who only cricket know? And if you absorb that, it just is meant to reflect that it's a much bigger, wider world. It's not just a bat and a ball and a pitch and a few people playing and having a good time. It's just such a much bigger world out there from which we could draw so many lessons. And of course, in our part of the world particularly, and increasingly so in other parts of the world, it's fabulously inspirational, aspirational. Look at the role models that have come out from our country. I mean, they are global ambassadors, no less. They're the most well-known Indians around the world. That's what the sport means to us. So much more than just a bat and a ball. And of course, the management of the sport is equally important, and I might spare a few seconds on it because we have the chief executive of the International Cricket Council here with us, because as the game grew and it had its own life, as it were, this natural progression, this evolution, it had to be managed better and better and better, and it has been, of course, done splendidly so by the band of people led by one of our chief guests here today, if I can call him that, and I'll name him in a second. But when we talk about partnership, it would not be out of place to mention that what I've just said about cricket and all those wonderful adjectives we've used easily transcends, moves into the automobile space as well. I mean, automobiles become us. We are what we drive, and that too is full of passion and excitement and aspiration. We'd all love to own something, one of these lovely beauties on either side of me. And when we get across major brands that can associate themselves with a major sport, it just is a wonderful natural fit. And it takes forward not only the game and through the game its players, but another set of very, very important people, the followers, the fans. I think they too connect very deeply with those who partner their favorite sport. And I think that's a very important aspect of why I presume Nissan would have been happy to do what they're doing today. It's a fabulous connect, and I must congratulate all those at Nissan for doing this. I'm also personally very happy to be here today. Thank you for shutting your phones. Because, and I wondered, I mean, why am I here today? It's a cosmic coming together of circumstances, because some of my most enjoyable, excitement-filled, passion-driven days were for a large number of years, till a couple of years back, when I used to drive around my sleek black, fabulous Nissan X-Trail. And those days will come back soon, I'm sure. But great to be here, and I'd love to expound more on Nissan, one of my favorite companies, and of course, the game we all love, cricket. But there are many others here today from the company and elsewhere who know much, much more than I ever will. And therefore, without much ado, because also I know there's a match later today and people might not want to miss out too much on it, I am delighted to call upon the Corporate Vice President and the Global Head of Marketing and Brand Strategy of Nissan Motor Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, a delight to welcome Roel de Vries. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sharu. And by the way, there's a perfect pronunciation of my name in Dutch, so much appreciated. It's really great for me to be here today in India to announce something that's really important for our company, not only for India but for our company worldwide. India is a very strategic market to all automotive players in the world. It's one of the top markets in the world, probably growing to one of the top 3 markets in the automotive industry, and it's a very strategic place to play as a brand. And as all of you know, we are a relatively young and new brand in India, but we're quite a significant player worldwide. We sell over 5 million, almost 5.5 million cars all over the world, and we're probably represented in most countries in the world where you could travel. But India is a place where we are growing, where we want to grow, where we made significant investments in our manufacturing setups, in our dealer network, and where we will continuously invest to move forward. So I'm really pleased to be here today to announce something that's very important for our future here. What I want to announce today is our global partnership with the International Cricket Council. And that's an 8-year partnership that we as Nissan agreed with the International Cricket Council. And it's a part of a story that we started a while ago, where we want to partner with the best in sport to build something that is truly close to what we believe our customers and our people believe in. And what we're sponsoring with the International Cricket Council is all the big tournaments that I think all of you know very well. So the World Cup, obviously, the 2020, the Women's World Cup, and the Under 19 World Cup. So all the significant events. So now you wonder probably why a Dutch guy is talking here about cricket. And like Shabu mentioned, we all have, especially in this room, something with cricket, and it's a game that really pulls you in. Some of you might hear from my accent, although I'm Dutch, that there is a bit of a South African accent, and that's because for Nissan I looked after South Africa for a while, and I lived there for a while, and it's unbelievable how the game of cricket can pull you in and can make you a really big fan of the game. My highlight while I was in South Africa, and sorry, David will speak after me. He might remember that. But while I was in South Africa, the Dutch cricket team actually did beat South Africa once, which was one of my highs while I was there. But anyway, it's an amazing game, and it's amazing for us to be part of that. So why do we believe as Nissan that we should invest in partnerships in sports? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is a pure business reason. The world of media is going through a dramatic change at the moment. It is a lot more difficult as a marketeer or as a global brand to reach people. I think when most of us grew up, we were all watching specific programs, specific television shows, or reading specific newspapers. And it was relatively straightforward for brands to reach people and to connect with people. But those days are gone. The world for the consumer has become much more simple. We can all see what we want to see or get the information that we want to get at any moment in time and any place via our mobiles and via all the devices that we have. And that has made it much more difficult for brands to connect. We cannot count anymore on everybody watching the 8 o'clock news and to connect with us. So What we need to find is ways to connect with our consumers that are really truly meaningful to the people that we want to reach. And that means that more and more brands, and definitely us, will start investing in things that are first of all live, because you like to watch big moments that are live moments at the moment that they're happening. It's not so interesting to watch a replay of a cricket match the following day. And we would like to be part of things that excite people. So we believe that we should be part of people's lives at the moment when they are enjoying their time best. If you can connect with people as a brand at that point in time, I think that you can truly build your brand by association. So we then went after the biggest things in sports. So we believed that if we want to connect with people and we really want to be part of the excitement that our customers go through, then we should, as a brand, be part of the best in sports. What we aim for in the vehicles that we engineer are the sports that we want to be part of. So we signed a couple of partnerships worldwide. We went as a partner with the UEFA Champions League, which is probably the best in the game of football. And that covers for us a very big part of the world. It's very big. It's the number one sport in Europe, in South America, in Africa, in Asia. Really, truly big. It's actually very big in the United States. The biggest participative sport in the United States is also football. Obviously, media-wise, it's not football, but it's really big. So we took UEFA, very important. We signed a deal, which we actually announced yesterday in China, with the NBA, the Basketball Association, which is the number one sport in China, which is one of our strategic markets. We are the partner of the Rio Olympics, which will take next year place in Brazil. You might have seen, but we are the partner of Usain Bolt, which is the number one athlete that's in the Olympics. And we invest heavily in American college sports. So we have a portfolio of partnerships at the top level of sports, which is what we believe represents what we aim for in our vehicles. So now, why specifically cricket? First of all, I think cricket is right up there globally with the sports that I mentioned earlier. The Cricket World Cup, together with the Football World Cup, are the two most watched sporting events in the world. And also, if you look at the geographical coverage of cricket, it covers markets where football is maybe not that big, or basketball is not that big. So for us, it's a very strategic fit to be a partner of what is one of the world's biggest sports, and it covers markets like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Australia, United Kingdom, South Africa. All of them very important strategic markets for our brand going forward. So very strong fit. The other part is that we believe in games or in sponsorships of sports that are played at the absolute top level. So we want to have those sports that are the number one in people's minds in the markets where we participate. And I don't have to say anything more, but in India, cricket is not only number one, but I actually looked in statistics when we were talking about this partnership. And if you look at what Indian people watch, number 1, 2, 3, 4 are all different cricket events. So it's definitely by far the best. Sorry, my voice is not so good. So how do we go about cricket? And the same thing as what we did in the Champions League. Thank you so much. We believe that this is not just a platform for advertising. I think we should be part of the game, and we should leave something behind for the fans. In the end, it's about the game, it's about cricket. It's not necessarily about the advertisers. I think we, as partners or as sponsors, play a very important role to make sure that the games can be played at the highest level. But we need to leave something behind for the people. So what we did also with the Champions League, and we will do with the basketball in China, and we're going to do the same with cricket, is to make sure that the way we sponsor brings additional entertainment to the game. So we will try and bring those types of communications around the games that are fun to watch and have a very interesting angle of cricket to them. And we will do activities with people in India and other markets that will give them access to cricket. So whether that is the tour of the trophy or the bearing of the flag before the games, so any way or any means by which we can bring the game closer to the fans of cricket. Because our job as a partner, we believe, together with the ICC, is to make the game bigger, to make the game even more fun, and to give more and more people access to the amazing game of cricket. So I'm really very pleased that I'm here with you all today and that we can announce this partnership, which, as you can imagine, is a very important investment for our brand and our company, and a very strong commitment to both the game of cricket but also to the Indian market where I am here today. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the time with us today, and I hope I can socialize a little bit with some of you later on in the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roel. I was listening to your mention of your time in South Africa. I don't need to remind you where you are today. And there's an India-South Africa match happening just a couple of hours, and we all know who you're going to cheer for, right? All right. I hope you find a seat somewhere to be able to watch a bit of that match, because it's an important one for at least one side. The other one's not doing too badly for the moment. It's not easy to look after sport. Sometimes you might even feel that it's easier to play than to administer, because there's just so many angles to it, there's so much to do, and administration has its own speciality, as it were. But when you can marry the two, when you've been this phenomenal player of that sport, and you can then rise to looking after the needs of sportspersons and the sport, as well as all the administration that goes into it to make it a global sport and to handle the evolution, so many changes, not just in cricket, but in every sport. So be able to marry all of that intelligently requires a very special individual. I can't be more delighted today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure all of you met him, known him, seen him play, and of course look after the sport. But it is indeed a privilege today to welcome once again on the stage the Chief Executive of the International Cricket Council, our very own good friend, David Richardson. David, thank you.
Thanks, Charu. Roel, Guillaume, Arun, ladies and gentlemen. The ICC is absolutely delighted with the decision of Nissan to partner with the ICC over the next 8 years as our official car partner. Whilst Nissan, as you've heard, has a distinguished history of sports sponsorships, this is their first major foray into cricket. And to take a place amongst Nissan's illustrious partners in other sports such as UEFA Champions League, the NBA, the Olympic Games, is truly a proud moment for the ICC and for cricket. We see the association, or the partnership, as Charu was mentioning, as the perfect fit. Through our rules, playing conditions, we like to think that we have made or played our part in ensuring that the game these days is played in an attacking, skillful, and very exciting fashion, and probably even more importantly, in the correct spirit. Cricket has never been more popular. Yes, from time to time it takes its place in the headlines for the wrong reasons, but actually as a game, there are more people playing the game, watching the game, than ever before in its history. And those people are growing as we speak. During the ICC Cricket World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, there were 2 matches, both involving India, South Africa, India at the MCG, and the India-Pakistan match, which attracted record attendances for those particular venues and television audiences. The India-Pakistan match saw more than 280 million people watching the game on television only in India. The final itself, over 96,000 people watching the final, a record for cricket anywhere in the world. Building on this, ICC has an aspirational vision to make cricket become the world's favorite sport. Like Nissan, our objective is to engage, excite and inspire people across all cultures, all ages, male and female. Like Nissan, innovation is extremely important in achieving those aims. Cricket has led the way in remodeling itself from time to time. No sport can say that it's kept itself relevant by having 3 formats of the same game. Sometimes a challenge, but to us a huge advantage. Like Nissan, we believe that there's a time and place for all our products. The cricket traditionalist, he can take his Nissan Tirana and with his best friend go off and watch a day's test cricket. He can load his wife and kids up into the Nissan Micra and go and watch a 50-over match and be confident that he will be having a full day's entertainment of the highest quality. And if he needs a little bit of an adrenaline rush, he can perhaps take his Nissan GTR, take his girlfriend and himself off to a T20 match. Of course, I'm not suggesting that, speaking from personal experience. We aim to make our events an experience that will never be forgotten. Whether for a player, a journalist, an official, or probably most importantly, the spectator or person watching the match on television, on his laptop, or using his mobile. I remember on my first trip to India with the South African team in 1991, at the end of 1991, post-isolation due to apartheid. It was our first tour back. We played our first match in Calcutta. And before the match, we had a few days of preparation. We had some net sessions at the Eden Gardens ground. The nets were set up on the venue. And next to the nets, there was a refreshment station, some umbrellas, some luxury wicker chairs that you could relax in. And after you'd finished batting in the nets or bowling in the nets, you could go sit in some shade and relax. And we served a drink, I remember, by a dressing room attendant wearing white gloves. And I thought to myself, if this is international cricket, then I'm for it. So it's those kind of experiences that we want to replicate, not only for the players, but, as I've said, for whether you're a journalist, whether you're a fan. And it's there that our commercial partners play an incredibly important role, whether it's our broadcasters, our sponsors, or our licensees. And of course, as you've heard from Roel, from Nissan in particular, I think that they will be a tremendous asset in our help to achieve and create those experiences for everyone. Looking ahead to 2016, we have the Under-19 Cricket World Cup in Bangladesh in early part of the year, January, February, and then followed by the next big one, the World T20 in India in March and April. And in fact, preparations are well underway for that event, and we will be holding or plan to hold a launch of that event towards the end of October, where you'll perhaps hear more of the detail around that event. Thanks to all of you for attending this morning. Thanks in particular to Roel, Guillaume and Arun. And we look forward to seeing you all at the World T20 in 2016. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just requesting David to please stay back for a second, because much as we've seen the two logos individually, and we know what they're all about, we've seen the International Cricket Council logo, and of course Nissan's logo as well, it is all about a partnership. And if you'll just move aside a foot or two, please, to isolate the background. What we'll do is just give ourselves here an important visual indication of what this partnership and long-term partnership is going to look like for many, many years to come. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you. That was short, wasn't it? We all know you have things to do, but that's how it's going to look. And with the sporting pedigree of Nissan, as everybody's been saying, and as we all know, it's going to be a fabulous partnership. I'm also now going to invite up to join David Richardson Can we have Roel de Vries back, please? Thank you so much. Along with my good friend Arun Malhotra, who is the Managing Director of Nissan Motor India Private Limited. And of course, Guillaume Sicard, who is the President of Nissan Motor India Private Limited. What we're going to do is cement this association with the signing of our most important tool of the trade. So I'm going to walk off to the left, bring it over, and there will be 2 signatures at the appointed place, which will, I suppose I can use the word cement again, and formalize the relationship between Nissan and the ICC here, today, now. Excuse me. Can we also hold it vertically? Or as well? Thank you. There you go. I'm interested to know where this is going to be kept at Nissan or ICC. Sure, maybe share it. Okay, thank you so much. Roel, David, thank you very much. Arun, thank you very much. And Guillaume, if I can ask you to please stay back. So that, of course, is our formal signal, indication of the partnership, which we all hope to see and enjoy for so many years. But, of course, more on it from the man who's, don't go away, Guillaume, from the man who is currently leading the effort here in India. As I said, on my X-Trail back. But, ladies and gentlemen, the President of Nissan Motor India Private Limited, Guillaume Sicard.
Thank you very much. Hello to everybody. Thank you very much, Charu. I have to confess something. When we started to work on our ICC partnership, I made some research about cricket and to really understand where it was coming from, when did it started, how big it was, to really understand the value of cricket. And I was very surprised to read in various articles, especially through the internet, that cricket was invented by the French 80 years before the British invented it. So I don't know if it's true. Anyway, it's open for debate, and I don't want to start another dispute between the British and the French. But anyway, this is those kind of unexpected news that can make also cricket extremely exciting. So let's now fly back to India, some 7,000, 8,000 kilometers, and land here in Mumbai. And let's talk about Nissan. Who is Nissan and what is Nissan in India? As Roel said, we are a very young brand. I mean, we established ourselves about 5 years ago here in India with a massive investment in Chennai, more than $1 billion. We have a plant that is employing 7,000 workers. We have a research and development center in Chennai employing 5,000 engineers. Our sales and marketing company has got almost 300 people. And with all the suppliers, actually, Nissan India represents more than 30,000 people in India. It's a massive investment. It's a beginning of a success as well. And as you know, Nissan is in the top 2 exporters in India. And Micra is the most exported car out of India. And as you know, all the Micras that you can see over in Roma, in London, or in Paris are made out of here, out of India, out of Chennai. Or if I look at the Sunnies that you can see in Middle East, they're all coming from here also in India. Today we offer a range of 7 products with 2 brands, and we have a growing network that has just reached 200 dealers. So we're a young brand, we're a growing brand, and I would say it is just the beginning. It's just the beginning because, as Roel mentioned as well, we want to achieve in India the successes that we are achieving throughout the world. We are selling close to 1.4 million cars in the US, close to 1.2 million cars in China, more than 800,000 cars in Europe, where we are the first Japanese brand. And believe me, we are gearing up in India to be part of this successful setup that we can observe throughout the world, especially knowing that India will become extremely soon, within the next few years, the third world automotive market, right after the US and China. So how can we achieve this future success in India? What do we need to do? I think there is probably three things that we need to achieve. The first one is to offer to our customers great products, obviously. The second one is to generate a great customer experience. And the third one is to develop and to be a great brand. And I would like to focus on what is a great brand. What does it mean? We always talk about the brand. We always talk that it's important to be a great brand. But what are the few tips to be a great brand? The first thing is to create a connection with your audience and to really have this kind of familiar feeling that you want to develop with your audience. So connection is extremely important. The second thing is to inject that passion into the gene of the brand to generate enthusiasm, to generate that genuine joy, and to involve you and each individual as a proper person. The third thing is to be a great brand is to be unique, is to be distinctive, and is to know how to make the difference. The fourth thing is to be consistent. And consistency is a very important tool to be a great brand. Consistent to generate that connection I talked about, be it from a geographical point of view or from a time point of view. And obviously a great brand needs to engage your emotion. So if I summarize back, if I talk about connection, passion, uniqueness, consistency and emotions, I'm sure most of you are thinking about cricket. But if I talk about the values to the Nissan people that are in this room, believe me, they think about our brand, they think about Nissan. And because those values are the ones that we associate with, those values in Nissan are the ones that we cherish and we promote. So hence, our partnership with ICC in India aims at bundling cricket and our brand together to distill in Nissan those strong values of cricket that will contribute to grow Nissan as a great brand. So now, how are we going to make that bundling? We have many months and many years where you're going to see this association and leave this association. At the first phase, and this is something that you're going to see in the next few weeks, we will promote cricket to the unexpected. That is to say that Nissan will work to bring cricket in some locations that you are not going to expect it, in some social media where you are not going to expect it, and we will generate that close feeling and that familiar feeling we're talking about. We will also be launching the Trophy Tour. We will have also some opportunities for our fans in the major tournament to be the flag bearers. We will pick players of the day, players of the month from among our fans. So many activities are planned. Many of them will be very unexpected and surprising because, as Dave said, we like to innovate and we like to do the things differently, be it in Nissan or being with ICC. To conclude, and maybe also actually to open a bit more towards the future, I would say that cricket is just one of the many existing initiatives that we are planning for India. In the next few months and in the next few years, you will hear a lot about Nissan, be it in terms of new cars, be it in terms of futuristic technologies, or be it in terms of exciting brand campaigns. In Nissan India, believe me, we are all fired up to surprise you. We are all fired up to challenge the convention.
Yeah, please don't be afraid to applaud. I don't know why we reserve or are so reserved in our applause. That was wonderfully done. Thank you, Guillaume. And good luck, of course. I don't know, I mean, where would you be if you don't make a mistake or two? And I feel I might have made a mistake because did I say that the gentleman that you hold hands very closely with in India, at Nissan Motor India Private Limited, sitting behind you, Arun Malhotra, my good friend, is the managing director of Nissan Motor India Private Limited. If I didn't, I apologize. Arun, do please stand up and say hello. Thank you. Okay, I think I said it, but I can't remember. Anyway, did it say that, what was the final word? Collide, was it? Or was it combine? Did anybody see that? The final visual? Anyway, combine, if not collide. Same thing. Exciting times ahead, no doubt, ladies and gentlemen. We have just a couple of things more left to do, and it is my pleasure to invite back on stage Roel de Vries and David Richardson, if I can have the pleasure of just a very short conversation with the two of you. I know that we're not opening questions out to everybody here, but if on your behalf, ladies and gentlemen, I can ask a couple of soft questions. You can ask all the hard ones later. Thank you both, gentlemen. David, if I can begin with you very quickly. I know you've already said a lot of good words and correct words about the partnership, but what about this Nissan partnership really, in terms of priority, excites you and all of the ICC?
I think the quality of the organization, first of all, and the reputation that it holds globally. This is someone that we really want to be associated with. And to us, we strive to make sure that cricket is played, free of corruption, free of all these things that we've seen in some other sports like doping, etc., and is played in the right fashion.
Well, you make an important point, David, because the reputation of the organizations that sponsor or support any sport do tend to fuse with that organization. And the bigger the organization, the sport benefits just so much more. So it's a fabulous partnership. Roel, you sponsor many sports in many parts of the world. There's a wonderful legacy of sports sponsorship at Nissan. If this is your first serious cricket sponsorship, what's the one thing that sets it apart from other major sponsorships around the world for Nissan?
So first of all, our sponsor we select, and I said a little bit earlier, is that we really want to be part of the best. And I think that's good to do as a brand. That's the way we go about engineering and developing our cars. And I also think that is what customers and consumers expect from sports and from vehicles. So cricket specifically, so ICC World Cup, we believe is the highest level of cricket. So that's what we want to be part of. What personally excites me most about the cricket is the unbelievable engagement of the audience. And of course we do many other sports like you mentioned and the football, but the engagement into cricket in the markets where it's big, especially in India, is just at a completely different scale. So personally, I cannot wait to be part of the first events and to participate. I remember once, and my apologies, many of you have done this many times, but I watched one game between India and Australia in Melbourne with 85,000 people in the room, and it's just at a completely different scale. So my most exciting part of this sponsorship is the pure engagement level, which I think is beyond any other sport.
Well, thank you. I was about to begin up going. I was also asking, I don't think you've answered that. Have you watched the passionate Indian cricket fan in full flow in India? You mentioned MCG, but in India, have you been watching?
I have not.
Cricket?
No, but I will be here. I will be here.
I can tell you. I mean, just going back to Calcutta and close to 100,000 people around about Diwali. So when you've got all the firecrackers and that going off, the noise, and I mean, it's impossible standing wicketkeeper and first slip. You can't even hear yourself talk across that. So it's like playing and experiencing cricket. Nowhere else in the world it's the same.
Yeah, but you forget that's engineered all that noise to make sure that the distance between first slip and keeper is sort of a little dicey, so that a couple of catches can go by. May I ask, Roel, the timing of this partnership, was it only because it was freed up at the ICC, or have you been looking at some such partnership for a while now?
No, this was from our side very deliberate. We started 5 years ago with what we call our sponsorship strategy and the things that I mentioned in my speech. ICC was on our list 5 years ago, and we've been approaching them for a very long time. I think they knew that the moment the opportunity would come that we would be very interested. So this is very deliberate, very specific. It's something we wanted for a very long time, and that's why we're so excited that we can stand here today.
Well, I suppose you can thank me for not asking about the finances, which of course other people will later on. But David, just to sort of move aside a bit from this partnership, but it's all a part of it. There was a board meeting very recently in Dubai. Any major takeaway from there that you might want to share with us on this occasion today?
Well, I think we've spoken about trying to make sure that cricket, whenever it's played, is played in an exciting format. So a lot of the discussion was around that when it comes to the actual playing side of the game. The other important aspect of our strategy really is developing the game. Now, we have 105 members, and we've mentioned the number of territories that we play cricket in, but the focus really over the next 5 years in particular is targeting certain members that can really make a difference. We want to improve the quality across the board, but more in particular, we want to make sure that there are more competitive teams at the highest level. And so that the likes of Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, West Indies continue to improve and stay at the top level, but that the likes of Ireland, Afghanistan, even USA, you might have seen a specific reference to the USA.
Netherlands.
The Netherlands are always doing well, and I've forgotten about that game that they beat South Africa, but have done well. And it's about making the Hollands, the next England, India, Pakistan.
Just one small cue that you missed there, David, because I heard on good authority from the president of the Nissan Motor India Private Limited Company saying that unless you can take this back to the country of origin and make it happen there, it's not big enough.
Yeah, well, personally, we're a little bit upset with Japan at the moment for beating South Africa at the Rugby World Cup. But we'll forget about that. And of course, French, we even play French cricket as well, which is a very popular game in backyards around the world. So France has a cricket team. They're one of our members, and hopefully they will be pushing themselves up the rankings in the next few years.
You might want to learn something from your northern neighbors. All right. David, one more thing, of course. Both of you mentioned one of the most exciting properties in the world of cricket, the ICC T20 World Cup happening in India recently, to happen in India early next year. Any specific thought on the preparation that you wish to share with us, the good and perhaps the tough?
Well, as I say, we'll be launching that event towards the end of October, maybe early November. The idea is to make sure that this is the biggest World T20 ever. You'll know it's a combined event between women's teams and men's teams. We probably will be taking the event to more than the normal 3 or 4 venues and spreading the tournament throughout India. And, we've seen how India has been capable of hosting events before, whether it's the IPL or whether it's global events, and we're really looking forward to it.
Were you happy with the way World Cups have been organized in India? Are they virtually snafu-free? Any improvements?
Well, I think, across the board, over the last 10, 15 years, the improvements in many things have just gone through the roof, and I think India can be very proud of the status it's got, or the recognition it now has as to how to put on an event and to stage a global event.
David earlier mentioned a few of the brands of Nissan, models, sorry is the word, how men could take various people, including families and wife or girlfriend, to the matches. But I will ask Rolf this as we finish. Rolf, the Women's T20 World Cup is also happening at the same time. So in which car should the women take the men and say, let's go for the match here?
Probably the GTR I would recommend. So, no, but I think you make an important point. The rise of women in sports is really significant and really big. And what we did with many of our partnerships, also in football, is that the participation of us as a sponsor with the women's side is important. Many sport, football as example, is the biggest played sport in the world amongst women, and many examples. So just important for us, it's really important. Car buying decisions are made more by women than by men.
Point to note.
So, and the first women, then children, and then men. Even though we believe we control everything, but it's not really true.
Thanks for reminding us. But listen, I have only 1,000 more questions, but I know that there are so many other things to be done today, including, of course, some lunch that is to follow, and of course, some more photograph opportunities right here on the stage as well as next to the cars. So a big thank you to all at Nissan, led today by Roel de Vries. Thank you so much. And of course, David, on behalf of the entire cricketing community, thank you so much for making this happen and for taking the game forward. If the two of you can please stay here, we'll invite the other two as well for some photographs. And can we please have Arun Malhotra back, the MD of Nissan Motor India Private Limited, and Guillaume Sicard, please, back on the stage. First, right in the center, and then, of course, nearer the cars, as soon as this is over, just in case somebody missed out on that opportunity. No bat this time, but plenty of spirit. And I don't wish to ruin your cameras, but I'm going to join this parade here for a second. Could we also move to the left, please, near the Terrano? Everybody's got their eyes on it. Just here is enough. Thank you. The winner of the best photograph gets one. Just kidding. And please don't disown the micro. So to your right whenever you're ready. Roel, would you lead the way, please? Thank you. Arun, Guillaume, David. And at the end of this, ladies and gentlemen, all we'll have left is an announcement for lunch. So perhaps I can make that announcement right away as soon as the photograph is over. We will go on outside, grab ourselves some lunch, and perhaps you might get a chance to individually speak with the four gentlemen to my right, and of course others as well. So once again, thank you very much for being here today. Remember, a landmark day, a VIP day, very important partnership day for the world of cricket, and long may this partnership live. Thank you very much again.